welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer. I'm Maisie, and this is Maisie with a Z, and we're doing a reading vlog today. I'm currently on winter break, so I finally have time to do reading, and it's December 19th currently. I currently have a twofold goal of reading Christmas romance books and trying to wrap up books I really wanted to finish by the end of this year. We're going to be doing a mixture of both in this vlog. I guess I'll start with some reading updates. So one of the main things I'm currently reading is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield, and this is set around the winter solstice, so like it's nice and seasonal. It's one of the 24 books I wanted to read in 2024, which I've not even read half of, so we're not doing great on that. But hopefully I'll finish this by January 1st. I was very much concerned with like the act of telling stories and processing events as they're happening as stories. But it's basically this story centered around this small inn on the Thames, and one night a man and a 4-year-old girl show up half drowned in a boat, think the girl's dead, but then she comes alive again. Meanwhile, there are 3 girls around that age who have gone missing at various points over the past few years. So it's like kind of this ghost story, but it's also very concerned with the act of telling stories, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The prose is absolutely lovely, and it's just got such it's got such wintry vibes, and it's just really fun, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure if I'll finish this in this vlog because I'm kind of taking it slowly in like 20-page chunks, but I'm hoping to at least make progress on this. So I'm also reading what I'm probably going to put on hold for a bit, which is Not for the Faint of Heart. It's an e-arc, it's a Robin Hood retelling, it's written by Lex Croucher, who wrote Gwen and Art Are Not in Love, which I read an e-arc of and didn't love. Like, it was okay. Like, I think I didn't like it for the same reason I don't like most books that are split upon, like, on 2 parallel romance stories, because just neither of them get the development they need, and there's always one of them that is much weaker than the other, and it's just not good. But Not for the Faint of Heart, I am 17% of the way through, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm still not entirely sure what the plot is or anything, but I'm enjoying the dynamics of the 2 main characters. Basically, one of our main characters is the granddaughter of Robin Hood, and her father is currently leading the Merry Men, but I think the goal of the Merry Men, which is like stealing from the rich to give to the poor, has gotten a bit muddled over the years. Meanwhile, our other main character is a healer who is kind of kidnapped by the Merry Men to teach a lesson to her mentor, to not heal or help out nobility at all, and I'm not entirely sure where the plot's going, but I'm enjoying the dynamics between the 2 so far. And then in terms of wintry books I'm hoping to read, I have Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood, which is a novella that was released for Kindle Unlimited. I love Ali Hazelwood, so I'm sure it's going to be a good time, so I'm excited for that. I also have Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cockrum, which is sapphic romance. It's been out for like 2 years, and I keep meaning to read it and not getting to it. I'm finally getting to it this year. I think one of the characters is Demi, which is exciting. And I honestly don't remember much about the premise other than that, so we'll find out together. We also have Spectacular by Stephanie Garber, which is a Caraval holiday novella. It's illustrated. It's just gorgeous. I know this is going to be so fun, and it'll be probably a pretty quick read. I'm like, look at that. Like, it's just so pretty. So I'm really excited for that too. Then, finally, there are the 2 Christmas books I reread every year, which I don't know if I'm actually going to get to these in this vlog, because I'm planning on this vlog finishing December 23rd in the morning, because I'm hoping to get it up before Christmas, and usually I read these like Christmas Eve. But those are Green Glass House by Kate Milford, which is my favorite middle grade book. It is so cozy. It's set over like the week before Christmas, and it's a bunch of strangers get snowed in at an inn for smugglers, and it's all about storytelling, and it's super cozy, and it's so fun, and I love it so much. Like, I reread it every year. It's a great book. Then the other book I reread every year, which I can't with any honesty say is a great book, is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. And this is a YA book where our main girl Sophie's boyfriend breaks up with her right before winter break, and so she ends up at her like massive extended family's holiday gathering thing, and they decide to set her up on 10 blind dates to get over her boyfriend. So she's going on all these like dates set up by all her relatives. Meanwhile, it's also about her reconnecting with her cousins who were her best friends growing up and who she's grown apart from. and it's just so much fun. And is it the best writing ever? No, but it's a great time, and I love reading that every year. So I don't know if I would get to those in this vlog, but they're really fun. And yeah, what else do I have to talk about? I could talk about the books I have recently read. The other holiday book I've recently read, which I read at the start of break, was Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake. And I just want to talk about this because it was so much fun. But Ashley Herring Blake wrote the Bright Falls series, which is like Delilah Green Doesn't Care, Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail, etc. This book was so fun. I loved it so much. It's second chance romance, and I don't usually like second chance romance, but this was following our two main characters, Charlotte and Brighton, and they were best friends growing up and fell in love, and then were going to get married when they were like 23. And then Brighton left Charlotte at the altar, and they have not spoken since. It's 5 years later. Charlotte is a violinist and playing in a string quartet in New York, and they're very successful. And one of the members of her quartet ends up inviting the other three back home with her to Christmas when she finds out they don't have any Christmas plans. And meanwhile, Brighton is living in Nashville, and she's trying to be a singer-songwriter, but that's kind of fallen through after her band kicked her out and then blew up to popularity once they got a new singer. And she's invited home by her best friend, and it turns out the two people who invited them home are sisters, and so they're stuck in the same house for like a week. I don't know, it's so fun. Like, I loved our two main characters, figuring out why like their relationship had kind of fallen through before, and like learning to actually listen to each other. And I'm gonna be so honest, I thought I wasn't going to be able to like it because of, you know, the leaving at the altar situation, but it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would have. To be honest, I think there could have been a much lesser betrayal, and the story still would have worked the same, and it would have been a lot easier to root for the characters and for the reader to forgive Brighton. But overall, I think it was still really well done. I loved the characters. I loved exploring their kind of individual traumas and issues, and I think each of their character growth is done really well. I absolutely loved Charlotte as a character. She's my absolute fave. And yeah, I adored this book. I think it was so good. It's 5 stars, and that book honestly might get added to my regular holiday rotation along with Green Glass House and 10 Blind Dates because it was so good. I adored it. And yeah, that's about what I have to say. Yeah, my reading goal for the year is currently at 117 out of 125 books. So I have 12 days to read 8 books, and I'm hoping to move somewhat forward in that over the course of this reading vlog over the next few days. So yeah. I'll get back to y'all when I have reading updates. So it's the next day. Reading update wise, I have a few. I finished reading Cruel Winter with You, which is the Ali Hazelwood novella, and it was fine. I think it could really have done with like 30 more pages, like closer to the lengths of her other novellas, which are all around like 110, 120 pages, whereas this is like upper 70s, I think. But basically it follows this girl who's home for Christmas, and she grew up with her best friend living next door, and so her best friend's younger brother was always like a big part of their lives, and she and him have kind of had like a weird flirting thing going on, which culminated in him confessing his love to her a few months prior, and now it's very awkward between them. And like, it was okay, it's just this story really relied on us buying into their connection and their relationship. I'm just not sure I fully bought into this one. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Like, for a Christmas novella, it was perfectly fine. It was what I was looking for. But in the grand scheme of being like a successful story, I would have liked a little more character development and more than just being told that they like have this deep connection with each other, you know? So that was Cruel Winter with You. I don't remember how far I was in Once Upon a River last time, but I'm now 133 pages into it, and I'm really liking it. I love the prose, and the narratorial voice is just so lovely, and I appreciate the way the stories all connect to each other. I'm not entirely certain what all is going to happen in the next 360 pages of this book, but I guess we're gonna find out. It's so fascinated by the stories we tell ourselves about things as they're happening to us, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, and it's about grief and familial love, and I'm like, it's very good. I'm very excited to see where it goes. What else? Not for the Faint of Heart, which is the e-arc I've been reading. That's the Robin Hood retelling. I've been picking up periodically. I'm now 25% of the way through. It's like, it's pretty good. It's still very much in like the setup part of the plot, and I kind of wish more had happened in the first quarter of the book. And then last but not least is Kiss Her Once for Me, which I'm 27% of the way through. This is basically, it's set in Oregon. It's following our main character Ellie, who moved to Portland a year and a half ago to become an animator and work at her dream animation studio. Last Christmas, she had this like whirlwind one-day romance with this woman that like the next day ended, and we don't quite know what exactly happened. But it was enough that like that now, the following December, Ellie's still thinking about her, and her friends have basically been trying to get her back on the dating scene, and she's demisexual, which I love the rep in this, and, you know, she's not in it for casual relationships because she needs an emotional connection to experience sexual attraction. Oh, and in the time since the previous Christmas, she, like, lost her animation job, and she's now working at this coffee shop with this, like, really terrible manager. Basically, one day, the, like, landlord of their coffee shop comes in, and he basically asks her out. Her friends basically, like, make her say yes. What ends up happening is she finds out that like, he's trying to figure out what to do because his grandfather left him $2 million when he died, but he cannot get it until he is married. And she's like, well, why don't you just get fake married and divorce a year later? And he's like, wait, why don't we get fake married? And so they get fake engaged, basically, even though it's like very much against Ellie's better judgment. And they go back to his family's house for Christmas so he can be like, hey, here's my fiance. And she gets there, and it turns out his sister Jacqueline is Jack, the woman she had the whirlwind relationship with the previous Christmas. And so she's in a fake engagement with one sibling while she's been like pining over the other all year. And his family can't know that the relationship's fake. So that's basically the setup, and that's about where I've gotten to so far, but I'm enjoying it. I'm not like addicted to it. Like, there's some romance books where like I'm 25% of the way through and like I cannot stop reading until I get to the end, like with Make the Season Bright. This is more like, it's enjoyable, but I'm not feeling any super deep connection with it so far. That's about all the reading updates I have for you. But I also have very exciting, my second book in the Seasons of Shadowhunters Kickstarter came. So I'm going to be opening this, where, if you don't know, Seasons of Shadowhunters is a Kickstarter Cassandra Clare, who writes the Shadowhunter Chronicles, did, where it's basically you get 4 books related to Shadowhunters, and the idea was they were supposed to be coming out every 3 months throughout 2024, but then there's been a lot of problems where now this is the second one, and it's the end of 2024, obviously. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up. Oh my god, this is gorgeous. Look at it. Like, look how beautiful it is. This is seriously so pretty. Like, look at Henry. Ty! Oh my goodness. Yeah, I want to find Tessa. Look at my girl Clary. So basically this is... Oh, there's Tessa. Look at her. It's a guide to Shadowhunters characters, so for each entry it's got like name, when they're born, species, and like a little thing about them, and it's got this beautiful folklore illustration of them, and I love it. Like, this is so niche, but like I love it so much, and I'm so excited to have this. Hey y'all, so we've reached the end of the reading vlog. I filmed this outro already yesterday, and then the footage was so unusably dark that now I'm refilming it because it's morning and not late afternoon. What has happened since last time I updated? One, I went to Barnes & Noble with my mom, where a new Barnes & Noble opened in my city a little over a month ago, and my mom hadn't been to it yet. I went over Thanksgiving break. So we went and I bought this absolutely stunning copy of A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. Like, cover obviously, but it has these beautiful bookshelf sprayed edges that wrap all the way around, and they're just so beautiful. And it's got fake marbled end papers and foiling on the hardcover. It's just so pretty. Like, I love it. So I bought that. That can go up here, I guess. Yeah, so that's my book buying update. I really need to stop impulsively buying books, but like, that one's so pretty I can't even feel bad about it. So yes, reading updates. Since I last spoke to you, I finished Kiss Her Once for Me, and it was okay. It's just, I really wanted to love this book because I've heard good things about it. It has a demisexual main character, which, like, you never see demisexual women in romance books. Like, there's some demisexual men, but demisexual woman is like pretty hard to find. And so I was super excited for that. And it was Christmas themed. I was like, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna have chaotic family stuff, like make the season bright. And I thought it was gonna be so good. Last time I talked to you, I was 25% of the way through. I was really vibing. The setup is fun, and I do really love our main character. She has so many insecurities about needing plans to work and kind of breaking down when those things don't happen for her, and like, she's so intensely relatable, and I love her so much. I really liked Andrew, who's the fake fiance. I liked what we knew of Jack, which is short for Jacqueline, which is the woman who our main character Ellie had fallen in love with the previous Christmas. And the issue's just, as I continued with this book, it gets to a point where even though Elle and Andrew know they're not in a relationship and aren't like romantically tied to each other, they're still Elle hooking up with people who are very close to Andrew who don't know that they're in a fake relationship. And so like Jack and Elle hook up and Jack thinks she is sleeping with her brother's fiance. And like it's just so morally icky to me. Like I cannot like any of these characters. None of them are honest enough with each other. I just could not like it. And the other issue is that with the demisexual rep, it's like this book is operating under rom-com logic, which is these two characters met and fell completely in love the previous Christmas and are still as much in love now. And so under that logic, it is believable that a demisexual character could have slept with someone they knew for only a day if they genuinely like fell in love and had that deep emotional connection with. So like that's fine. It's not like problematic rep. It's just feels very strange to me that one of the only romance books that like I've ever seen with like a demisexual woman as a main character is very focused on her sexual relationship and attraction to this woman who she has known for a total of 16 hours to 2 weeks, depending on when in the book you are. And I just thought that was a weird choice plot-wise for a demisexual character. And like, it's fine, it's okay. It just felt very strange to me, I don't know. So yeah, I gave Kiss Her Wins For Me 3 stars. It was fine. If you don't mind that sort of weird, messy love square with questionable moral choices, then you will probably really enjoy this. Like, it's well written, it's good. I just could not get on board. And then, speaking of questionable moral choices, we have Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. And this was a time. I was really excited for this book because I love Stephanie Garber, I love the world of Caraval, I love Once Upon a Broken Heart, which wasn't going to feature in this. But I was really excited for this Christmas novella focused on the Caraval characters, which are Scarlett and Tella, and their two love interests, Julian and Legend. There are a lot of things to like about this book. It is absolutely gorgeous. It has beautiful illustrations. I showed you already. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. It has gorgeous illustrations throughout. It feels very fairy tale-y, holiday story, and the first half of it I really enjoy. It's focused on Tella's freaking out because she doesn't know what to get Legend for the Great Holiday, which is their equivalent of Christmas. So she's freaking out about that. Basically, she ends up going to this like weird magical street to like try and find a present for him, and ends up finding this person who she thinks is pretending to be Legend, who's doing casting for Caraval, which is, you know, the center point of this trilogy. She thinks it's an imposter, and she's like, I'm going to go investigate, and like that'll be my present for Legend, just like taking down this imposter. And she goes, and she ends up getting kidnapped. At some point she realizes it's the real Legend, but there's definitely some like very questionable consent going on. It felt so strange tonally for Stephanie Garber's series, and especially for a YA series where I'm like, if this were happening in adult fantasy romance, I might be like more okay with it. But it was just so weird and so out of the blue and so not what I was expecting from this book. Then there's the added fact of, independent of all that, where that part takes up like the second half of the book, but independent of all that, there's the fact that the first few chapters seem like they're setting up for something weird and sinister that's going on with the Great Holiday preparations. And it kind of seems like Scarlett, who's Tella's sister, who is under some sort of spell or something that is making, like, there's definitely like sinister things being set up that are never followed up on, which makes me wonder if this was once like twice as long book that then got cut down because maybe they realized they didn't have room for it, all the illustrations production wise or something, I don't know. But there was definitely like, it was hinting at plot lines that never happened and aren't even really touched on throughout the book, and it's basically all Tella and Legend and whatever the heck's going on with them. So I gave it 3 stars. Mostly for the beautiful illustrations. I might knock it down to 2.5, I'm not sure. I would only recommend this if you really like Tella and Legend as a couple, because there's not much Scarlett and Julian in here, and there's also not much of like plot outside of Tella and Legend. And even that's a bit dubious plot-wise, but like you'll like it if you really just want Tella and Legend content. But otherwise, this was a book. The illustrations are gorgeous though. Like, just look at that map. That's gorgeous. Yeah, anyway. So that's the end of the reading updates. I really hope you enjoyed this vlog. I enjoyed filming it. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. You can find me on my blog, Goodreads, Instagram, and Storygraph at the links in the description. And yeah, thanks so much for watching to the end, and I'll see you later.